Hello, my name's Rachel Munyai and I'm one of the nurse advisors at Target Ovarian Cancer. I'm here today for the first of a series of short videos looking at how best you can support your physical, emotional and social well-being during the COVID-19 pandemic. This video will be looking at emotional well-being. Here at Target Ovarian Cancer, we're hearing from a lot of women who are telling us that currently they're feeling low in mood, anxious or worried about the emerging situation with COVID-19. The purpose of this video is to answer some of the questions that we've been asked and also to reassure you that what you're experiencing is entirely normal during this time. But we hope to be able to provide you with some strategies that will help to support your emotional well-being. So first of all, I think it's really important to talk about what anxiety is and why we feel anxious in the first place. Anxiety is the body's response to a perceived threat or danger. When the brain perceives a threat or danger to our well-being, it initiates something called a stress response, which is also known as the fight or flight response. As a consequence of this response, the body releases a number of hormones, and the reason why it does this is to prepare the body to either fight against the danger or run away from the danger. These hormones cause a host of physical and emotional symptoms, such as a racing heart or a faster breathing rate, and some people also say that anxiety makes them feel irritable or have a sense of doom, and this is why anxiety is such an uncomfortable sensation for the person experiencing it. The stress response is actually really useful when there is a physical danger present. However, the stress response can also be initiated by uncomfortable thoughts or feelings. It's no wonder, therefore, in these times when we're constantly bombarded with information about the COVID-19 virus, that our threat response is much more active during this time. Naturally, we will therefore feel much more anxious during this time also. Luckily, there are many things that we can do, however, to help ourselves with these feelings of anxiety. It is very easy to feel overwhelmed and bombarded with news about the COVID-19 situation. Whilst we can't control what is being reported in the news or on social media, what we can control is choosing how we receive our information and how often we receive that information. You may find it helpful to turn off breaking news notifications on your phone and instead to watch the daily news briefing instead. You may also find that during these times you need to scroll past posts on social media to limit the amount of COVID-19 information that you're receiving and hopefully to reduce your anxiety. Unfortunately, it's not always possible to stop the stress reaction from triggering. However, what we can do is practice activities that will lessen the impact of that stress response on our physical and emotional well-being. Practicing things like deep breathing, relaxation exercises, and mindfulness can all help to lessen the experience of anxiety and contribute to a more positive emotional well-being. It's also really important to eat a healthy, balanced diet, take some regular exercise, have a structured daily routine, and to make sure that you're getting enough sleep. When anxious thoughts start to take over, you could also practice some self-soothing. This is about having a phrase or a sentence that you can recite to yourself when worrying thoughts start to escalate. This could be something like, right here, right now, I am safe. Right here, right now, I am safe. This question seems to relate to feelings of uncertainty about what is going to happen in the future. Uncertainty can generate a lot of worrying thoughts, many of them hypothetical, and this can feel very overwhelming. A really useful way of dealing with these overwhelming and worrying thoughts is to try and categorise them. To try and categorise them into those worrying thoughts that you can do something about and those worrying thoughts that you can't. The worry tree is a really useful tool to help you to do this. In this scenario where the woman is worrying about what is likely to happen to her treatment because of COVID-19, unless it's the middle of the night, This is a worrying thought that she can do something about. She could, for example, pick up the phone and ring her clinical nurse specialist or consultant and explain to them that she's having these worrying thoughts and ask them what the likely impact of COVID-19 will be on her treatment. She could also pick up the phone and phone myself or Valerie, the other nurse advisor on the nurse-led support line. By taking action in this way, it is likely that the woman will get some answers to her question that will reduce the uncertainty that she's feeling and consequently also reduce the worrying thoughts. In the scenario where it's a worrying thought that you can't do something about, either now or in the future, then it's really wise to try and take actions that will distract yourself from this worrying thought. You could distract yourself by, for example, doing some relaxation or some mindfulness, or you could embark on an activity that you really enjoy. Another useful tool that many people have found helpful is to allocate yourself something called worry time. So worry time is about acknowledging worrying thoughts during the day as they arise and making a note of them and then distracting yourself. Then, when your allocated worry time arrives, it's about addressing those worrying thoughts, applying the decision making in the worry tree and taking action on them. Most of us will experience low mood during times in our lives. Right now, when our lives are being severely restricted by COVID-19, it's not surprising that many of us are feeling down or low in spirits. Eating a good diet, taking some regular exercise, and getting enough sleep can all be really important for our emotional well-being. There are also some activities that you can do that will help to boost your mood. Try to prioritise your activities. When we're low in mood, we also quite often feel tired as well. And this tiredness can mean that we don't do our usual activities, including those that help us to feel good about ourselves. Try to do those activities first that will give you a sense of achievement, enjoyment, or closeness. By doing these things, it's likely that you will build your self-esteem and also enhance your relationships with those that you are close to. These will all help to boost your mood. Essentially, washing the windows can wait, unless of course they give you a sense of enjoyment or closeness. Have you ever heard the expression, "you are your own worst enemy"? When we're feeling low in mood, this is quite often the case. Our inner voices in our heads can often be quite critical. That voice might be saying to you, for example, that you're useless or that you should or ought to be doing something differently. Instead of this negative mind chatter, practice speaking to yourself kindly and compassionately. Imagine that you're speaking to your own best friend and try using the same words and tone of voice that you would use with them. When you're feeling low in mood, it can be really helpful to speak to other people about how you are feeling. Now more than ever, it's really important to stay connected with family and friends. If you can't physically be in the same room as them, this is possible through social media or connecting via an online meeting. You could also join our In Touch Facebook group to connect with other women with ovarian cancer, or you could call myself or Valerie just for a friendly chat. If your low mood continues for more than a couple of weeks and you find that you're not finding pleasure in many of your daily activities, it may be that you're suffering from depression. In this instance, I would strongly recommend speaking to your GP for advice and support. Not being able to be physically present in the same room as those people who you love or care about can be emotionally very tough. Fortunately, through online platforms such as Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp and FaceTime, to name but a few, it is still possible to speak to and see your friends at the same time. I personally have felt far more connected with people during lockdown than what I did previously. This is largely because it's so easy to do, but also because my pace of life is so much less rushed. I have spoken with relatives in New Zealand, Germany and even Yorkshire. You could also consider setting up an online quiz or an activity to do with your friends. You could connect with people who share a common interest by using websites such as Meetup, for example. You can find more information about services to support your emotional well-being on our coronavirus page on our website. Please do remember that there is always someone you can talk to. You can contact us on the nurse-led support line or speak to another health professional within a dedicated mental health service. Thank you once again for taking the time to watch this video, and please do get in touch if you have any further questions. Thank you.